And March 21st, 1994.
And the Oscar for the Best Picture of 1993 goes to
Schindler's List.
Steven Spielberg, Gerald Molen, and Branko Liswick produced.
Took home 7 Academy Awards.
This is the best drink of water after the longest drought in my life.
I'm Brandon Brooks, and that's Rewind.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit Progressive.com.
We're News Radio WGNS 100.5, 101.9, 1450. Online and on your phone at WGNSradio.com. Rutherford Issues with Brian Barrett on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSradio.com.
Rutherford Issues is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Sharing Change from MTE has donated more than $11 million to local nonprofits, assisting worthy causes here in our community. That's MTE, serving to make life better since 1936. Got a very interesting program for you today. We're going to head to Nashville to get state legislative update with State Representative Mike Sparks, and also joining in studio is Ann Warren with Mothers Against Drunk Driving Tennessee. So we'll talk there as well. Mike, how are things going on Capitol Hill?
We're fussing and fighting and arguing up here, but other than that, we're doing great.
Well, you know, that's kind of been the norm here of late. And
it has. No, it was. It's all good. I just had a young lady. I'm in the break room, and she works for the Democrats. And we had a good conversation last week. She said, "Yeah, I really appreciate the conversation, and that folks can have." And her background's a social worker. I said, "Well, I had a bill about mental health and trying to create more counselors and social workers, and the needle has been moved." You've heard me quote the letter from the late Dr. Linda Gilbert about after our town hall, the opioid mental health town hall, and I said, "What's the silver bullet?" She said, "Man, we've got to have more counselors, the behaviors of the 6 to 9 year olds." She said, it's something she's never seen in her 50-year career. She called them disorderly and disruptive. So, the school board and up here, I think we're taking mental health much more seriously than we did before. But that was just literally 3 minutes ago that a young lady made that comment to me. I'm just took come in here in the break room. But I appreciate Miss Warren coming up. She was on my show, I think, 2 weeks ago, and it's an important topic. Drugs and alcohol and abuse among our young people is important to all of us.
Very much so. So do you? Last year, what was it, about somewhere mid-April when session ended? Are we going to make that this time? It looks like there's still a lot to consider.
We should be out late April. When it's election season, you'll see people kind of scurry to wrap up so they can stay in their districts and, campaign and, kiss babies and shake hands and go to the fish fries and the barbecues. So I think we'll get wrapped up late April. At least that's my gut. I don't think we'll get into May.
Yeah.
We might.
What are some of the big things that we'll be looking for? I'm sure about choice schools and all that kind of thing.
Yep. That's always an important topic. I mean, it's important to me. It's important to constituents. It's important to parents and folks that care about education. I'm for school choice. I've always been for school choice. I think it'll help relieve the overcrowding that we've had in our community for years and years. And, our county, I was just sharing with I think it was the chairman of education, Mark White, who we had in the district last year, visiting some schools. And they understand our Rutherford County situation. I was on finance about 3 weeks ago, and I brought up something relating to our county. And the comptroller, Jason Mumpire, he said that he said, y'all are the 13th fastest growing district in the state of Tennessee. And like I've said before at the county commission steering committee with fellow, county commissioners and Mayor Carr, Mayor Kitchen, and even going back to Mayor Burgess, that it's totally unsustainable. We can't keep doing the same old thing we've done for years and expect different results. And even Einstein called that the definition of insanity. So I think education choice can help move the needle, improve education. And who cares more about those students than the parents or the grandparents or the guardians. So I think we're going to pass it. I have a little bit of, I think there needs to be some measures of control and to keep the cost down, because we are going to invest more money in education than we've been doing the past 10 years. Just last year, we invested $1 billion in the vocational schools. $1 billion. So we've made record investments in education the past few years.
Well, kind of talk to me about Ann, who is here with us, and Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and why you thought that would be a good subject for us to talk about today.
Well, Vanessa Moore, who I know, she worked for TDOC, the state prisons, and I often talk about God wink moments and confirmation. I went and visited a prison about 8 years ago, and I was there. In fact, they kept me waiting. They were mopping the floors and all. It was kind of strange, but I want to talk to some inmates, that have, had their own battles, and ask them for advice of what a lawmaker can do to try to help, keep people from making bad choices. And I went to visit Vanessa right after that, and I was there for programming. We were talking. She looked at her computer. She looked at me. She looked at her computer, and I thought, well, she's got something busy, something got going on. And I said, well, I'll let you go if you need to go. She said, no, I just got an email that the commissioner of TDOC has put her in charge of all programming for the state of Tennessee. I said, is that strange? She said, yeah, it's very strange. She said, while I was sitting there, she got the email. So I called that confirmation. So Vanessa and I are friends, and she asked me, she thought this would be a great topic. But, we're seeing the country get off the rails. We're seeing more crime among young people. I think alcohol is a drug. I think it causes more damage than marijuana. I think most people would agree with me. But I think it's a great topic to try to encourage people to make better choices and not to drink. I don't drink, and I don't want to spend the money. One of the reasons. But I think it's a great topic for her to come up and talk about. Okay.
Well, we'll do that, and I assume you need to get back to it, right?
Yeah, it's got to get back up there. Well, thank you, Brian. And thank you for what WGNS does and being the good neighbor station. And thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good one.
Thanks. That's State Representative Mike Sparks joining us. And Ann Warren is here. She is program specialist with Mothers Against Drunk Driving Tennessee. And welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Very good to have you. Mike, as he was talking, something kind of popped into my mind. We had a story on it. It's been a while ago, and this was kind of some of the first information coming out after COVID, and it was that alcoholism really took went through a huge spike during that time, and more people, I guess, just to kind of get through the stress of it all. So unfortunately, it seems like maybe alcoholism is on the rise.
We have definitely seen a spike there, and maybe in conjunction with that, we've seen a spike in drunk driving. It's a very real problem in the United States. It affects 2 in 3 people in their lifetime in America, and we lose someone to a drunk driving crash every 37 minutes, which is terrifying to think about, especially when we consider that it is a 100% preventable crime.
Right. Oh, very, very true. What I've also heard that as technology changes, some car manufacturers are considering putting in, anti-locking device or whatnot that would be able to, just for anybody, it would just be a part of the vehicle, and the vehicle would not start if there was blood alcohol levels of whatnot. So, I mean, that would be really cool to have, but that's maybe some of the tools in the toolbox.
It would be cool to have that, and it's not as invasive as people think it is. A lot of times it's just something you would touch the steering wheel, and if there was a lot of alcohol in your sweat, the car wouldn't start. And it's not something that would call the police on you or anything else, but that is technology that can save lives.
Yeah, most certainly. With technology, though, it does take time for that to come out and be manufactured, and then there are still many years before everyone is probably driving a vehicle with that. So talk to me a bit about the underage drinking prevention that is available. And I'm sure that maybe there are some folks that are listening in that know some young people, because unfortunately our young people are starting to drink alcohol even sooner and sooner than maybe we could even imagine.
Right. Studies show that students are thinking about the pros and cons of drinking as early as age 8, which it means that if we waited until they're in college to have that conversation with them, we've waited too long. So MADD has a few different underage drinking prevention programs that are available to students and their parents, caregivers, and grandparents. We have a program for 4th and 5th graders in elementary school, and we're not talking so much about them making decisions to drink as we are talking about refusal skills and what they could do if someone had been drinking and offered them a ride in their car, or what they could do in a worst-case scenario if they were forced to ride with an impaired driver to keep themselves more safe in that vehicle. We also have programs for middle schoolers in grades 6 through 8 and programs for high schoolers in grades 9 through 12. And the content varies between these age groups, but we are trying to keep kids from drinking until they turn 21 years old. We're trying to turn them into responsible drivers, and we are trying to give them the tools they need to keep themselves safe and be advocates within their community.
Sure. Well, it's interesting that you said an average of 8. And yeah, I'm sure that, for me and for other parents out there, it was prom. We thought prom was going to be like the first time, but why is it so young, do you think? I mean, is it because maybe alcohol is in the home and they are just very curious, or what?
That is probably one of the reasons. If it's something they see a parent doing or an older sibling doing, there is that curiosity there. And another program we have for underage drinking prevention is a parent program called Power of Parents. And that's great for parents, caregivers, grandparents, or even if you don't have a child, if you are an aunt or an uncle of a child, or if you're a teacher. And it kind of goes over how you can have those conversations with your child and teen about alcohol. It's something you want to talk early about and talk often about, and that will give your teen those skills. It'll help them go about their everyday life, because ultimately you can't control who children are around 24/7. You'll never be able to control who their friends are or who they run into at school, but you can control the way, or you can have an influence on the way they perceive alcohol and other drugs.
The resources for, underage drinking prevention and talking to your children or teens, where could we find that? Is there someplace online?
So yes, we have a website, madd.org/Tennessee, and I do want to mention that all of these resources are free. So I, as a program specialist, or other program specialists in Tennessee, can come to a school, a church, a basketball camp, any organization, and give these presentations to students, parents, or caregivers. We can also bring printed resources and have all of these resources available for free online at madd.org/Tennessee.
Very good. We're talking with Ann Warren today, a program specialist with MADD Tennessee. And is there something that, I know we've talked about the parent-to-child relationship, but as a community, what are some things that we could be doing to, just put some type of dent in this impaired driving that we see?
It does take a community. It's something we have to work together to do. One thing, if you are someone who does drink, you can organize a designated driver. Plan to get an Uber or a Lyft home and make those plans before you go out. If you know somebody who is drinking and they decide to drive, try to tell them not to. Offer to be their designated driver if you're sober. You can also call to report a designated driver, and that is something that can save lives. And think about having those conversations with those people around you, your friends, your family, and youth in your community. Before I came to MADD, I was a teacher. I taught for 3 years, and I cannot tell you the amount of times a student would come up to me and say, I really want to know about this, but I'm afraid to ask my dad because I think he might be upset if I ask. Or, yeah, I was in a tough situation last weekend. I was at a party. I didn't have a ride home. I was scared to ride with my friend because they'd been drinking. But if I called my mom, I thought I'd get in trouble. So these kids want to have these conversations. Yeah. And a lot of times it just helps for you as the adult to be the one to reach out your hand, especially around prom season. Every year there's a student who goes to prom and doesn't come home. And so as a community, you can be that helping force and reach out that hand to help those youth within your neighborhood. Well,
we are definitely in that prom season right now. And in the final few 30 to 40 seconds that we have here, are there opportunities to volunteer, and maybe hit us up with the website again?
Yes, you can go to madd.org/Tennessee. We have information about all of our different programs you could volunteer for, whether that's underage drinking prevention or our victim impact panels. You can contact me at ann.warren@madd.org, Ann with an E, and you can call our state office at 615-360-8055. Once again, that's 615-360-8055.
And are there opportunities to volunteer and help with some of your programming?
Absolutely. If you wanted to give these presentations to students and parents, you could volunteer in underage drinking prevention. You could volunteer in victim services, court monitoring, or for victim impact panels. So it's whatever you might feel called to do. Very good.
Well, Ann, great spokesperson for MADD Tennessee, and appreciate you being with us, and anything we can do to help spread the word, just let us know.
Thanks so much, Brian.
Ann Warren joining us today from Mothers Against Drunk Driving Tennessee, a program specialist there. Don't forget you can check the podcast at WGNSradio.com or Big G TV if you missed any part of our conversation.
Greetings, friends. This is Lenny Farmer with the Jennings & Ayers Funeral Home.